Hello and welcome back to another episode on Heal Out Loud. And today's episode is all about toxic relationships and all the things that I did to stop entertaining toxic relationships and to also stop being the toxic partner. And one sentence that I heard over and over again was, if you don't like it, then leave. And funnily enough, I didn't leave, even though I heard this a million times. And unfortunately, that made me resent the person so much. And it made me resent myself even more because someone is showing me that, listen, I don't care whether you stay or whether you go. And for some reason, I couldn't leave. And I'm not talking just about one relationship here. I'm talking about a pattern. The one where I stayed through physical abuse, the one where I stayed where he disappeared for 2 whole days and then called me crazy for reacting to it, and the one where I stayed where he controlled every single part of my life. And I want you to hear something that took me so long to understand, that I wasn't just a victim in these relationships, I was the toxic one too. Not because I was cruel, but because I kept on choosing to stay in places that were destroying me, and just because I had wounds, so I was bleeding on people who didn't cut me. And the question that changed everything was shifting from, why did they treat me this way, to why did I think that I deserved to be treated that way? I'm going to take you through all those 4 relationships today to show you how my unhealed inner child was running the whole show, and then give you the 6 things I did to finally break the cycle, because nobody can save you except you. And the most amazing thing that you can hear today is that you have all the power that it takes within you to save yourself. So let's start with those 4 relationships. If you don't like it, then leave. Every time I try to bring something up, every time I try to express something that hurt me, those were the words that I heard. Instead of trying to figure things out together, the person always told me, if you don't like it, you know where the door is, you can leave. And I stayed. And every time I stayed, when I heard those words did something to me. I felt like a loser, I felt powerless, I started hating myself, I started resenting the person, I lost all respect towards the person, and especially I lost a lot of respect towards myself. Staying taught me that I had no power, that my feelings didn't matter. So I started resenting him, but I resented myself more. And resentment in a relationship is like poison, slow poison where you can function for a while, but slowly it starts killing everything. Then there's another relationship where there was lots of verbal and physical abuse, and I see you if this one hits close to home. You're not alone. I know how painful this is. I know how many times you try to leave and the person just gets worse and worse, and then you're ashamed of yourself. You don't want people to know. You're ashamed because they're shouting outside your door, so you end up opening your door so people don't know what's really happening. The person who is supposed to love you. And their words cut deeper than anything physical ever could. But then, by time, the physical abuse starts happening too, and you stay. And people on the outside start noticing and they tell you, just leave, pack your bags and leave. But what they don't understand is by that point, you are convinced that you are the problem, that maybe if you're quieter, things will go back to normal. The physical and the verbal abuse will just stop. Then there was another relationship where it was the controlling one. And what happened in this relationship is I didn't even notice. It starts slowly. It starts small. First, maybe it's a comment about what you're wearing. It's a comment about what you said. It's a comment about how you sip your drink through your straw. A question about who were you with. And little by little, your world shrinks and you start asking permission to exist. And you tell yourself it's love because he cares too much. Then there was relationship 4, the disappearing act. And these relationships are not in chronological order. This relationship drove my anxious attachment up the wall. He'd go out for work drinks and I wouldn't hear from him for around 2 days. And when I start acting crazy and calling nonstop, then I'd get called crazy, of course. And I know that a person with a secure attachment would not stay for such behavior. A person with secure attachment would not act crazy. They would leave the relationship because they know they deserve better. But I didn't have a secure attachment. I had an insecure attachment style because I hadn't healed my inner child until then. And so instead of leaving, I'd drive myself crazy and I'd drive the person crazy too. And the worst part is I started believing I was crazy. I started believing I was crazy because I wanted to know that the person I loved was safe. And I started thinking I'm crazy because I wanted to know that I matter enough for a simple text like, listen, I'm home. But I wasn't a victim in these relationships. I was the toxic one too. So I want you to sit with this for a moment because I know it's uncomfortable, but this is where real healing starts to happen. When instead of pointing fingers outwards, you start going within and you start noticing your part in such relationship too. So yes, I was the toxic one too. Not because I didn't respect myself for the person, but because I was insecurely attached to the person. I was trying to respect myself by leaving a relationship that was no longer for me, and at the same time fearing being alone. And that's not lack of self-respect. That's a war inside of you that nobody sees and nobody understands unless they've been through it themselves. And I also operated from a lack mindset, complete scarcity. I will not find anybody else who is going to want me. I'm unlovable. Nobody loves me, nobody wants me, so maybe better the devil I know than being alone. So any company, even harmful company, felt safer than silence. And sometimes you do find the courage to leave. Many times I found the courage to leave. But then, because your partner is also insecurely attached, they'd start calling, they'd start coming at home, they'd start messaging you, showing you that they love you, they will never do it again, that they're interested in you. And then, of course, you're listening to all the words that you always wanted to hear inside your relationship. So obviously, you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to give this person another chance. You know deep down that you do not believe that you and this person can make it work. You know deep down that you do not believe yourself to not act crazy again or to not stay for certain issues in the relationship. But you accept it because it's the words you always wanted to hear. And that's what I used to do too. And that's what used to happen to me in these relationships too. And here's the truth. I believed I deserved all of this mistreatment. I believed I deserved it because I thought that I was the problem. There was something fundamentally wrong with me, that I was creating all these issues, that I was pushing the people away, that they're doing this to me because I did something to them. I always blamed myself and I always made it mean that I am the problem. And the way that someone is treating me is a reflection of my own internal issues. But can we blame a 5-year-old for wanting love, for wanting to be seen, to be heard? Because really and truly, that is the little girl or the little boy inside of you. It's the 5-year-old inside of you, your inner child that's running the show. Can you blame a little child for wanting love and for staying even when love was toxic? And then on my end, there was a distrust. Years of pain had created this assumption in my head that you can't trust anyone, that everyone will hurt you, and that people will stab you in the back anytime and any chance they find. And as the law of assumption states, anything you assume for a long enough time, we attract. And your personality becomes your personal reality. And I was attracting people that were proving my wounds and my limiting beliefs just right. And of course, I also went through the rebound cycle. Every time something ended with someone, I needed someone else to validate me. I couldn't feel the pain of being alone, of being abandoned, of not feeling like I am wanted. I didn't know how to survive the loneliness, and I didn't know how to be with myself. So I kept filling the void with whoever showed up. Maybe someone you friend-zoned, maybe food, maybe partying, anything that fills the void. But this time it's different. I went through a breakup last year, and instead of going for a rebound, I chose peace instead, even if that means I am alone. And being alone doesn't mean that you are lonely. And yes, of course, I do feel loneliness sometimes, but not to the extent and extreme that I used to feel 5 years ago. And that's all the difference. So I'm going to be sharing the 6 things that helped me break the cycle, that helped me choose peace and myself instead of choosing someone out of fear of being alone. So the first thing that broke the cycle was connecting to little me. I want you to think of little you, even if you had the perfect family. I want you to think of little you, the version of you that needed unconditional love and couldn't always get it. For me, I had to stop and ask, what did she truly need that nobody gave her? And then I had to start giving it to her, to myself. And obviously, it's not as simple as that. I went through a whole journey, a whole year of healing my inner child with a coach. Because healing your inner child changes everything. If I'm starving, I'm going to accept breadcrumbs. But when I nourish myself, I stop settling for the bare minimum. The second thing that helped me was making my alone time beautiful. I make my alone time fun and peaceful now. Because if I hate being alone, I will fall into the trap of choosing the wrong person just because I hate the silence. So I fill the silence with things that actually nourish me. This isn't about distracting yourself. It is about genuinely becoming the person that you enjoy to spend time with. The third thing was learning to receive, and this was a difficult one for me. And it still is a little bit difficult, I won't lie. As a child, I learned that love was something that had to be earned by always taking care of my caretakers. And as an adult, I'm learning to receive. Something as simple as saying thank you when someone gets you coffee, instead of reaching out for my purse immediately or knowing when I'm going to get them the next coffee. Because if I can't receive coffee without feeling like I owe them something, how will I be ever able to receive real love? And we will only receive in our lives what our nervous system feels safe to receive. And this helps me avoid choosing another partner who drains the life out of me, where he's constantly taking from my energy, but giving the bare minimum in return. I don't want that anymore. The fourth thing that really helps me is feeling the feeling first. I monitor my feelings now. As soon as I notice any emotion that feels overwhelming, instead of trying to push it away or allowing it to control all of me, I sit with it. I used to hate feeling anxious. I used to do anything to escape it, calling a friend, smoking a cigarette, starting cleaning, reach out to the wrong person, reach out to an ex, even though I know that I don't want to get back with the person. Now the moment I notice anxiety, for example, in my body is, I accept it. And I say, I accept this anxiety that is here in my body, and I allow it to be here. I will not try to push it away. I accept it fully. This helps me avoid reaching out to the wrong person to regulate me, and instead I regulate myself. Because at the end of the day, nobody can save us but ourselves. The fifth thing that I do after feeling my feeling is I check the thought that was underneath that feeling. Because first comes the thought, then the emotion. And yes, if you're constantly feeling anxiety, fear, those emotions are going to generate more negative thoughts. And those negative thoughts are going to generate more negative feelings, and it's a never-ending negative loop. So once I fully accept the feeling, I check which thought was underneath it. Maybe it's something like, nobody cares about me, I'll always be left alone. And then I challenge that thought by showing my brain proof and evidence that people do care about me, that I am not alone. Because if I allow these thoughts to run freely, I am going to choose a partner from this lack mindset, from these negative thoughts. And what happens along the way is I will start reacting in the relationship from these thoughts, and this person will start reflecting these thoughts back to me by treating me as if I am insignificant. And this happened many times before. And remember, you do not see the world as it is. You see it as you are. You see it through your own filter. That filter is called the reticular activating system. We all have it, and it is literally a filter. So a story happens, the truth happens, but if it goes through my brain, it's going to go through my RAS system, and I filter it according to what I've been through in my life. If it goes through your brain, it's going to go through your RAS system, and you're going to filter it according to what happened in your life. So for example, if a friend cancels on me and I have a victim mindset, I might say, everybody cancels on me, nobody enjoys being with me, people always do this to me. Whereas if you do not have these insecurities, and if you do not have a victim mindset and a friend cancels on you, you're just going to say, oh no, maybe something happened to her. So your reaction to someone canceling and my reaction are going to be different. So then what's going to happen is I'm going to be in a bad mood and I'm not going to ask my friend if she's doing okay. What you're going to do is you're going to check in on your friend and you're going to ask her if she needs anything. So obviously, which one of us is going to end up on better terms with this friend? You, of course. So that is going to make space and make way for you and this other friend to connect on a deeper level. Whereas on my end, it's going to drive us further apart. And what happens then is she might stop speaking to me or she's speaking to me less. And I can say, you see, I was right. Nobody cares about me. Everyone abandons me. But it's not true. It's because this cancellation went through my own filter. I made it mean something negative about me, and then it created this outcome. Whereas for you, it went through your filter, you checked in on your friend, and you connected even more. So every story that happens in your life goes through our own filter. And if your filter is designed to work against you, you're going to see everything is working against you. So you do not see the world as it is. You see it as you are through your own filter. And you are not doomed. It doesn't mean because you have this filter, you were born with it and you're going to die with it. No, this filter was blank when you were born. And then as time was progressing, you started learning things about yourself, about your parents, about the world, about people. And this filter was created. To change this filter is by going back to where this filter was created and cleaning it and rewiring it. So where was this filter created? This filter was created between the ages of 2 till 10. So that's why inner child healing is the fastest and most effective way to clean this filter, to rewire the subconscious brain, to live a life full of peace and love with or without a partner. And the sixth thing that helped me break this cycle was taking care of the basics. I sleep 8 hours a night, I eat whole foods, I regulate my nervous system, I praise myself, I train, I go for a walk, I go out in the sun, I enjoy my time, I do not entertain any negative comments, gossiping, low frequency vibes. And of course, I'm human. I'm not gonna lie. At one point or another, I'm sure I've gossiped again in my life. But I notice it. I know that that is not the frequency I want to be on. And I become aware that I do not want to stay there. I forgive myself, but I also lead myself into not doing that again. And the worst frequency that anyone can be on is shame. Shame is the lowest frequency, even lower than hate. So if I am going to constantly shame and blame myself, I am going to attract more things where I'm going to shame and blame myself. So I shifted shame and blame to kindness and compassion. And growing up with a drug-dependent mother and an absent father made me feel really ashamed of myself, made me think that I was the problem, because I took it personally, because as kids we take everything and make it mean something negative about ourselves. So I had to do a lot of inner child healing to release this shame that wasn't mine to carry to begin with. And I also rest when I am tired, because when these areas are not being taken care of properly by myself, I get really moody. And then I start looking for things outside of me to lift me up. Alcohol, tobacco, people, friends, men. When they are taken care of, I can see clearly through anyone's bullshit. It's not glamorous, but it's the foundation everything else sits on. So, to conclude, what can you do? Instead of asking yourself, why do I keep on choosing toxic people? Ask yourself, why do I believe that I deserve such toxicity in my life? Why do I act like toxic as well? Because I promise you, it was little you, desperate for love, desperate to be seen and heard. It's little you that is choosing this toxic love, if we can call it love. And she is not to blame. She did everything she could to feel loved, because love is very important for us to survive. So that's why you're constantly chasing to feel loved from outside of you. And the only way that you stop chasing love from outside of you, so you stop accepting breadcrumbs from outside of you, is through learning how to love yourself. And when I used to hear people telling me, Nick, you need to love yourself first, I hated it because I didn't know what I needed to do more. I studied, I trained, I ate good food, I took a bubble bath, I did this, I did that. So what else do I need to do? And love yourself, what love yourself really means is healing your inner child, giving your inner child all that she needed when she was younger and didn't receive. Because when you reparent your inner child, the RAS that I mentioned earlier is going to change too. Your filters were going to come clean again, and we remove all the dust that got trapped along the years. But you're not her anymore. You have the awareness now, and awareness is the first step. Awareness alone, listening to this podcast alone and being aware alone is not going to help you. I was stuck in that trap as well, where I was reading every self-help book, I was listening to all the podcasts, journaling, meditating, going to yoga, and still I couldn't move on. I couldn't get out of the funk I was in, and it was a really bad period for me. The way that you're going to rewire everything in your life and do a full 360, maybe not 360, 180, is by healing your inner child. And I know that your brain is right now telling you that this will not work for you. It works for everybody, but not for you. You are too doomed. I used to think that too. It is very normal because the brain tries to keep us safe. The brain tries to keep you safe. The brain tries to keep you in what is known, because known is predictable and the unknown is unpredictable, and the brain hates unpredictability. But trust me, you can heal. I also used to think I can't heal because I was going to therapy. I was on antidepressants. I was doing all the things, all the healing methods under the sun that you could possibly think of. Reiki and everything else. And still I felt crazy, lost, sad, like a victim, like I am unlucky, unlovable. But inner child healing saved my life. And I would not be out here preaching this if I didn't know for 100% that this is true, because I know how exhausting life can be when you're trying one healing method after the other and you're not healing. This works, but obviously you have to put in the work. As I tell all my clients, I wish I can wave a magic wand at you and take away all of your pain immediately, because I know how painful this period is for you, but it doesn't work that way. But what I can promise is, if you give your 100% and if your inner child healing coach gives her 100% to you as well, then you will definitely get to the desired destination. You will definitely get to a stage where you feel at peace, loved and whole, with or without a partner. And if you are ready to take this leap, ready to take this step, if you feel like you don't want to feel like a victim anymore, you don't want to feel unlucky in love anymore, if you feel ready to let go of this old identity and step into a new identity where you attract and become all that you desire, my 6-week challenge to heal the pattern is starting next week. If you want to have more information on this, message me on Instagram at evolvingwithnicole, or you can email me on nicole@evolvingstar.com. Message the word heal and I will get back to you with all the information. We will schedule a free discovery call to explain to you what the program is about, to see whether this is exactly what you need, and together we will outline your transformation plan. I wish you a very happy weekend. I will see you again next week. Do not give up. There is a way out of this misery that you're feeling, and that is through inner child healing. Bless you, and I will see you again next week.